What's up, guys? This is Durian Productions. Today, we have a newly released Huawei Matebook D 14. It employs an AMD R5 3500U with 8GB of RAM, 512GB of SSD, and 14-inch display. Our version comes with an Linux system, and you generally need to install Windows by yourself. It comes with a USB Type-C charger, 65 watts, and another Type-C cable, approximately 1.8 meters. It looks pretty good, Apple style. It has a plastic wrap. We open it. This laptop feels very solid, very beautiful. It has a mirror-like Huawei logo on the A side. It looks gorgeous with great light reflections. The metallic build quality feels very good. We turn to the other side. It has a large window for cool fan to come in. It comes with, in total, 3 plastic stands. The stands are pretty high. It can help the laptop to breathe properly and exhaust the hot air properly through the back of the laptop. It has 2 speakers, stereo speakers. On the left side, it has a full-size HDMI for video output, a USB Type-A, and a USB Type-C charging port. On the other side, an additional Type-A port and a earphone jack. On the front side, there is a place for your finger to open the laptop. If you just use your thumb to open it, you will find that you need another hand to help you. It has many Huawei its own technologies, Huawei Share, and a hidden Huawei camera. It's a good design, but the camera angle may be a bit awkward. The keyboard feels very much like the new MacBook Air or MacBook Pro. It's not as proper as Lenovo, HP, or Xiaomi. The screen has very narrow barrels. On the bottom side, although the barrel is a bit wide, but the Huawei logo seems very good. The touchpad is pretty long, and the area is very large. It's made of plastic. It feels just good. The power button also imprints a fingerprint function to support the Windows Hello function. Since it comes with an Linux system, the Deepin Linux China, generally you will have to switch to Windows 10. We burn the image into a thumb drive and then boot the laptop from the thumb drive. We press F12 and switch to the thumb drive. After a while, the laptop will be able to boot from Windows installation thumb drive. You can now proceed to install Windows 10 as you wish. Here we choose Windows 10 Professional. And then we try to delete all the original partitions for the Linux. Finally, we set a new partition for Windows 10 itself. It will be the C drive, finally, for Windows 10. It will take about 10 minutes for the Windows 10 to copy all the files to the solid state drive. Okay, here we are. Now we are at the setup menus. Just set everything up as you wish and then enter the desktop. Now everything is done. After the installation, we put on the laptop. Everything is so smooth, happens just in 10 seconds. We try internet browsing. First, we go to the official website for Matebook D14. It feels extremely snappy, as fast as Intel 10th generation CPUs. I would like to say that it's really a bargain nowadays to get the AMD version rather than the Intel version. We turn to a YouTube clip to see the sound quality as well as it feels as if I am in a small cinema. Now let us launch IDA 64 to check the internal specs of this laptop. The battery has a very large 57 watt-hours battery. Even we turn to high performance mode, it can sustain around 4 hours at maximum. Many laptops, if you put to high performance mode, then they just last 2-3 hours. As for RAM, it is dual channel DDR4 8GB. The LCD is a BOLED display. We go to a website to check the specs of this panel. This is a professional website for panel. If you have the information, you just key in and search, and then it will reply you with all the specs of the panel. Okay, here we are. We have a similar model. The panel on this Huawei laptop is NH1, while the database only have NH0. It should be very similar. It has 250 CD brightness, 45% NTSC gamut with a 700 contrast ratio. Personally, I feel that the current LCD is better than the specs here. It is very bright, feels more than 300 nits, and is better than expected. The solid state drive is a West Digital black drive. The Wi-Fi is a Realtek one, a crap brand. The latency may be a bit higher than Intel or Qualcomm. Now we turn to some general benchmarks. We run SSD. The score is very good. And then Cinebench R15. We're on battery high performance mode with a 600 CB. The performance is very good, showing that the performance is still very high under battery mode. Then we use IDA 64 to test the system stability. Under idle load, the temperature is around 40 Celsius degree, which is really ideal. Everyday working, it is very comfortable. We start the stability test. The power consumption goes up very quickly. We open hardware information. The frequency is around 3 GHz. Unfortunately, without official software from AMD, it is very hard to detect the proper power consumption from APU. What we can only know is the temperature and the frequency. At least in the very start, the frequency is very stable. Compared to the 3.3, 3.4 GHz from Intel 10th generation CPU, the performance long term is very likewise. Now, 10 minutes after the stability test, the frequency is extremely stable. It's still around 3 GHz. No change at all. The temperature is pretty ideal, just above 70 Celsius degree. The downside is that you can feel the whole keyboard is a bit warm. While there is a good side about it, it is that the fan noise is extremely low. You cannot even notice it, even in a quiet environment. Then we stop the stability test, let the system rest for a while, and then we are looking forward to add GPU to the stability test. We click start. At least approximately the same situation. The temperature rises very quickly, and you will feel the system is quite slow when burning the machine. This is due to a problem of AMD chips when you are running stability test, but it will not happen for games. Now, the CPU frequency is around 2.2 GHz, and the GPU frequency is around 600 to 700 MHz, which is about half the frequency of its maximum 1.2 GHz. We let it run for 10 minutes. After 10 minutes, the frequency is pretty stable. The CPU frequency now is still approximately 2.2 GHz. Wow! As for GPU, the frequency has lowered to approximately 5 to 600 MHz. This shows that when you are playing games, the CPU clusters and the GPU may fight for the limited power consumption 15 watts. AMD APUs tend to give more power to the CPU to make it stable at 2.2 GHz, while the GPU will fall short a bit. This is not very ideal for gamers. The temperature now is just 1700 degrees. We would suggest Huawei unlock the power of APU a bit to allow GPU to exercise more power and more frequency. We also did a test to run stability test only on GPU. And it is now we finally confirmed our consumption that the GPU frequency goes to 1.1 GHz, which is approximately the same as 1.2 GHz. Now the CPU frequency is only 1.4 GHz, and the CPU is basically running nothing at the moment. So if you buy this APU model, either you get full power CPU, either you get full power GPU. It's very strange, since for most gamers, you need CPU and GPU simultaneously. Finally, we give some summary and recommendations. This Matebook D14 is exactly the same as Honor Magicbook 14, except for some very minor differences. I would suggest if you stay in mainland China, save a few hundred RMB and go for the Magicbook version. Thereafter, Matebook D14 shouldn't be selling well in China. It also has another competitor from the Magicbook 2019, which was released early in 2019. The early version is slightly more heavier, but everything is still very good and it has a good price. The 16GB RAM version is just around 3.6k RMB, which is approximately $800. As for the new Magicbook 14 or 15, still the 16GB version is not there. If you like Redmi, then you may consider Redmi Book 14. I do not really suggest it, because it only has everything basic except for being cheap. If you stay in China and you have chance to get HP Giant 66, it's a bit heavier. Its thermal got some problems, but the very good side is that it has 2 RAM slots, which allows you to upgrade the system RAM. The laptop also has a lot of ports, such as Type A, Type C. It also has an LG IPS panel. As for the HP Star 14, it's not really recommended. As for Lenovo, it also has a Xiaoxun 14-inch. This one has an expandable RAM slot and a 2.5-inch bay. It's a bit heavy, but more suitable for those who need the best expandability. If you need a lighter version, then go for the Huawei Magicbook. So just wait a while for the 16GB version. If you need some expandability, consider the HP version. Although HP is known for its thermal issues, but anyway, if you're buying a laptop, losing about 20 to 30% of performance is not a big thing. Getting more RAM and storage sometimes can be more important. Finally, thank you very much.